First off, some people are interested in the history of the guitar. Well, the history of the guitar can be traced all the way back into the Bible ages. There's references to instruments similar to a guitar. But generally, it's accepted that the guitar came into common use in Europe in the area of Spain in about the year 1200 to year 1300. That's a long time ago. It's almost 1,000 years in the big scheme of things. But nobody really knows for sure when things are that old. Uh, we just accept some of the stories in history that we hear about. So right here, I have for you a common type of guitar. This is called an acoustic guitar. Um, the way an acoustic guitar makes it sound is that you can see up close we have strings attached from one end to the other end. And when I strike a string, it vibrates, and that vibration is transmitted through this little piece of bone here into the cavity of this box, and it vibrates and it's amplified down in here, and the vibrating sound waves come out of that hole, and the audience gets to hear the beautiful music of the guitar. And these strings, there's generally usually only 4 strings or 6 strings on a guitar. They're tuned in a certain pitch so that they sound good together. We use these days, we use electronic tuners to help us make sure that the strings are in tune. But in days before electronics, they would use pitchforks. They could use little tiny harmonica type instruments, or they could use a piano, or they would just do it by their ears. And that's the way they would make sure that the guitar sounded good with the other instruments. A lot of the homesteads in Appalachian, they would have a guitar that grandpa or dad would play around the front porch. And sometimes mom would want to play the guitar, and she would have her own special guitars. I have one right here. It looks a lot smaller than the big guitar, and there's only 4 strings on this guitar. You can see there's the top of the head. There's only 4 tuning pegs, and I call this a tenor guitar. It's got a different sound. It's a very pretty sound. And the tenor guitar can be played with chords, or it can be played with using melodies like a fiddle. Tenor guitar. I'll hang it back up. Sometimes we would have, let me reach back here for this one. This is called a parlor size guitar. It's a little larger than the tenor guitar. It's got 6 strings. It's tuned just like its full size guitar, but it's a heck of a lot lighter. and more transportable and easier to play, in my opinion. Other names for these small guitars might be travel guitars, and then they would have special letter designations like OM guitars or triple O guitars. Those just refer to the size of them. They're played exactly the same way as the larger guitars. And I'm going to put this small parlor guitar back up. And just before I'm going to show you some more unique instruments. But back in the 1930s, they started inventing electric guitars. And notice on my electric guitar here, there's no sound hole. The sound of an electric guitar, which also has 6 strings, it's usually tuned the same way, similar. These strings are plucked, and you probably can't hear that because it's not turned on. But these things right here with the circles on them, those are called pickups. And the string creates an electronic magnetic field with those pickups. And with the use of a cable and an amplifier, the electric guitar makes its sound. I just wanted to show you that electric guitar. I'm not going to play it for you now, because you've heard them before if you listen to the radio or watch TV. But you know what? You can make guitars out of anything. I built a guitar out of a boat paddle. And it's true, this is an electric guitar. Pickups under this piece of wood right here. Plug my cable in right here. And it's only got 2 strings. And I can play it just like that. Now, I've actually seen guitars made out of wheelbarrows. I've seen guitars made out of axes and shovels. And so anything's possible. You see, use hardware like it's a regular old piece of threaded screw. I'm going to put my boat paddle guitar up. Now I'm going to demonstrate some of the different ways that this guitar can be played. Most guitar players are going to use a piece of plastic shaped like a triangle, and those are called picks, and that just allows the pick to strike the strings instead of a thumb. Slightly different sound. Does that mean you have to use a pick? No, you can play with fingers and thumbs. I'll show you that in just a few minutes. But I'm going to play a song called Bury Me Beneath the Willow. It's a traditional Southern Appalachian song. And I'm going to show you how it can be played with different styles of strumming and finger picking. A beginner guitar player is probably going to strum across the strings using different shapes of the fingers. These different shapes create what we call chords. And the chords are simply a combination of different notes that sound good together. Here we go. Bury me beneath the willow, under the weeping willow tree. When she hears that I am sleeping, maybe then she'll weep for me. So that's just straight strumming. Every time I do a beat of the song, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just strumming. As a guitar player gets to be better at what they do, they can start adding some different rhythms with their strumming, like this. Oh, bury me beneath the willow under the weeping willow tree. When she hears that I am sleeping, maybe then she'll weep for me. So that was a little more complicated, sounded a little bit more musical. But then there's a third type called the finger picking. And this time you might hear me play the actual melody, individual strings. This is not going to be as loud as this picking and strumming with a pick because my fingers aren't made of plastic. Here we go. Oh, bury me beneath the willow under the weeping willow tree. When she hears that I am sleeping, maybe then she'll weep for me. So that's finger picking. Now, let me see what I can do here. What else can? Oh, the right hand. A lot of people think the guitar, the left hand, is where all the musical magic comes. No, I disagree with that. The left hand fingers go on and fingers come off. They go on, they come off. They might land in a different shape. But the right hand of playing guitars, that's where all the dynamics of the music come in. That comes in with tempo changes. I can play slow, or I can play fast. I can play soft, or I can play loud. And so I think it's the right hand is all the music of the magic. That's where the beautiful stuff happens. So let me talk about chord shapes for a moment. There might be, in the world of guitar chords, 10,000 or 12,000 different chords we can make, all based on these 6 strings and these 22 frets. However, there's only about a dozen, maybe 20 total different shapes that we use. And when I teach people how to play, I teach them you're going to be playing shapes, and only about a half a dozen or 10 or 12 shapes. And you can take one shape, like I have my hand right here, happens to be called an E chord, and I can take that same shape and I can move it up in pitch toward the body. Now it becomes an F chord. I continue with that same shape. Notice my fingers didn't change the shape. There's a G chord, A, B, C, D, and it goes all the way up into another E. Hear that? High-pitched E versus a low-pitched E. So that's one shape, just one. And I played 8 chords. And if I go in between, I can go like F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp back to E. There's 12 chords I played with just one shape. And if I just take one finger, this finger here, and lift it up, now I got an E minor chord, and I can play all my minor chords using that one shape. And so I'm just explaining that you take two shapes. That's all I used was two shapes. And I played 24 different chords. So the guitar is very versatile. It can play in any key. So it can accommodate singers who are limited into their voice range. You might can sing really low and they can sing really high, but they can't sing any higher than that for songs. And so we can play on guitar on the keys to fit the singers. So this was just a very basic introduction to guitars, a few types of guitars, what they sound like, different ways they can be played, and when they were thought to be invented and brought over to our part of the world. So I hope you enjoyed my little video. I'll be making some more. Bye.